I think the best way of portraying to the uninitiated just how far Canada has fallen under the lack of leadership of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is that 8.5 years into his time as Prime Minister, we now apparently have a parliament chock full of traitors. So it wasn't enough that the Liberals were just domestically corrupt. We needed to export our corruption and let, like, Xi Jinping have a seat in our house through one of the Liberal MPs. This is effectively what everyone knows has been going on for a few years, but finally a committee actually investigated it and put together a report basically showing just how for sale Canada's government really is right now. And that is obviously a massive violation of democracy in Canada that MPs in specific ridings might not really care about their constituents. They might care more about what the Chinese government thinks, the Indian government, Pakistani government, Iranian government. They care more about what they think than people who actually pay taxes in this country. Obviously, this is horrible. But today, what I want to do is kind of break down the discourse around the whole foreign interference, uh, you know, investigations, scandals, I guess you would call them. Oddly enough, the discourse has been mainly happening between Jagmeet Singh and Elizabeth May. And what I'll say up front is I take everything both of these two say with a grain of salt. The NDP has a lot to gain pretending it is the peer party because there's no chance of having a foreign government try and buy their MPs because it's a useless party that no foreign government would ever bother with. Like nobody's knocking on the NDP's door trying to get influence inside the government through a new Democratic Party MP. You know, that's a really stupid thing to do. That would be something like a really poor country would do. They don't have enough money to bribe like a liberal or a conservative or a bloc MP, so they have to go down the street to the NDP. It's like Equatorial Guinea or something like that would be bribing an NDP MP. And the Greens are, oddly enough, Elizabeth May at the very least. I'm not sure about what her colleague, the only other Green MP, thinks, but she's doing the reverse where she's not acting self righteous. She's almost like downplaying the idea of foreign interference, which might be because the Green Party has always had oddly strange connections to the Russian government. That's both in Canada and the US. You'll notice that it's a strange phenomenon, but Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate for president in the US, who's been the presidential candidate a couple times already, every time she's in a room with Vladimir Putin, if it's a massive banquet with tons of tables, she's always sat with him. And the Green Party has always done a lot of water carrying in Canada for the Russian government. The guy who was the runner up in the last Green Party leadership race, who lost to Anami Paul, literally went to Russia to go basically act as a propaganda journalist for them, saying that everything's fantastic here and it's literally the only prosperous country on the planet. And actually, the West and the US are the real evils in the world. It's nuts, the kind of stuff the Green Party gets up to. But I want to just play this clip first of Jagmeet Singh, in a certain sense, doing the right thing and saying that I'd kick out any MP in my caucus if I go look at this report who's implicated in foreign interference. A little bit empty because obviously there's not really that much of a capacity for any NDP MPs to be corrupt in this line of, in this area.
Mr. Singh, would you, on the floor of the House of Commons, if you get the names in your briefing, release them? Because you're not a member of the committee, so you would be allowed to do that.
So what I've said, what I'm going to do is the following. If a member of my party, anyone that's a New Democrat, a member of parliament, I read the briefing, and if they are, it's clear to me that they knowingly worked with a foreign government to undermine Canada, I will immediately remove them from caucus. There is no way I will approve them to run as a candidate, nor would I allow them to continue to sit in my caucus if they are named and they knowingly worked with a foreign government to undermine our country.
See, I'll give Jagmeet Singh credit for that. That's the right thing to do. I hope every leader, if they find out that there's somebody corrupt in their caucus, just kicks them out. The kind of dirty secret here is I find that a lot of party politics is so about risk aversion, trying to be as clean as possible in terms of public image, that I could see parties finding someone corrupt in their caucus and then their first instinct is to say nothing about it, because if we expose that this person's corrupt, maybe there's a bad news story. So maybe it's better just to kind of let them persist and hope they eventually leave and they stop being a problem for us rather than us getting rid of them, doing the right thing, but having to take, a hit in the media. That's kind of the problem we end up having a lot in Canadian politics. Risk aversion ends up meaning that problems kind of persist. But now I want to move on to the weird back and forth that Jagmeet Singh and Elizabeth May had on this issue, where she was very downplaying of the problems and he was like almost sensationalizing it, probably more than it needed to be. But here's a great edit that I believe Jennifer L. made between the two's different press conferences.
I have no worries about anyone in the House of Commons.
The MPs that are involved, wittingly or unwittingly, are they traitors to Canada?
They are indeed traitors to the country.
But I am vastly relieved.
I'm not relieved at all, nor, in fact, I am more disturbed.
There is no list of MPs who have shown disloyalty to Canada.
We must find a way to let MPs who are named in this report know that we know what they're up to.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a tale of two press conferences going on between Jagmeet Singh and Elizabeth May. The only thing that I don't want to pull up the clip because it's very long, but the only thing that it does leave out is Elizabeth May, while she's downplaying it, those were mostly moments from the very start of her press conference. As it went on, she started saying, well, yeah, there was probably some nominations that foreign countries were effectively helping to rig, and there was some former MPs who just left office recently who are working for foreign governments and passing diplomats private secrets or foreign agents privileged secrets from government. And even then, she admits she's only read the public report and she's not actually read the one that requires deeper security clearance. So her testimony is utterly worthless. But anyways, that kind of brings us to this other thing that's been going on with it, which is the discourse between both the NDP and the Liberals going after Pierre Poilievre for not getting the security clearance to read the report. The thing is, and I'll play the clip of Pierre Poilievre explaining this in a second here, I think it's a good thing for people to know about, that it's so strange to see the Liberals trying to make hay out of this, considering that Trudeau, for 11 weeks, has known the MPs implicated in it, many being likely people from his own caucus, as well as people he's appointed as senator. I think this is a very good example of a guy telling on himself. Liberal appointed Senator Wah Pow Wu saying that, he opposes any new bill trying to curb foreign interference of, any interference from foreign state agents. That he was the one guy who came out saying, I'm going to vote against this. There are some other people who abstained strategically, but if you come out and say, foreign interference bill? Nah, not on my watch. I'm going to guess that you might have some level of ties to the Chinese government. Just a guess here. Maybe it's from Taiwan. I'm just assuming he's more, pro-Beijing on terms of what's been going on, because the Liberals would never appoint someone who's pro-Taiwan. But the Liberals posted this on their own social media account a couple days ago. The header saying, why won't Pierre Poilievre get his security clearance? And the graphic reads, Poilievre is the sole party leader forgoing access to classified report on foreign interference. Now, the Conservatives already have two of their own MPs who've already seen the report that Poilievre would have to get a security clearance to see. The reason Poilievre has said he doesn't want to get it is because to get the security clearance wouldn't actually let him then speak about it after. You'd have to basically sign an NDA saying, I'm not going to talk about it. And so two Conservative MPs have seen it. I don't think they're technically allowed to even tell Poilievre what they said. The only people they'd maybe be able to talk about it with are each other because they both have clearance. But this is the problem, is that there might be a lot of game playing going on where Trudeau knows what's in it, but if you want to know what's in it, you're also not allowed to speak about it, so you can't call him out. So the Liberals are oddly using kind of the fog of war here in order to attack Poilievre. And to be clear, the security clearance is not predicated on getting a background check or something. It's not like Poilievre might have done something and so he's not allowed to get the security clearance. No. It's like a security clearance that reading any document would require you to do a new security clearance where an investigator would make sure that you have no exposures that would prevent you from being able to read it. Let's say one of the people implicated probably can't read it because they can't probably know a lot of this classified information because they're already not a trusted individual. They'd maybe be able to read another report based on water safety or something like that in some small town or whatever. You need a security clearance to read it because of some privileged information. But you have to get, basically they would look at your unique vectors for potentially having issues reading it. That's what this is all about. Poilievre could obviously get in 5 seconds. And here is him explaining why he specifically hasn't tried to go get the security clearance to read this.
I'm not going to be muzzled. And what I think Trudeau is trying to do here is put a bunch of paper in front of me that has information that's already public, mark it secret, and then say, you can't speak about this anymore because now you've seen classified material. It's a crafty way to silence critics. We already have 2 conservatives that are cleared to look at these documents and to scrutinize what the Prime Minister proposes to put in front of me. I think that is the right way to go. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be silenced. What we actually need is a full public inquiry with a former judge who's skilled at dealing with national security issues to look into the allegations, to see why Beijing interfered in 2 successive elections to help Trudeau win. Why did Beijing give $140,000 to the Trudeau Foundation in order to influence the Prime Minister? These are questions to which we need real answers, and only a public inquiry will deliver those answers.
So yeah, that's I generally think that's probably the reason why. Like, everyone's trying to say like there's a dark secret reason why he won't get it. Like, it would be stupid, because if there was like really deep implications for the Conservative Party in foreign interference, I think the Liberals or the NDP would have leaked it at this point. Even though Jagmeet Singh says, "Well, I'll keep it as a responsibility of the Conservative Party leader and the Liberal Party leader to call out anybody who might be implicated in the report." At the same time, I don't think that Jagmeet Singh could probably help himself if there were like really obvious Conservative MPs who are like working for the Indian government or working for, like, I don't know, the Laos government or something like that, or the Egyptian government, the Israeli government. He'd 100% do it in 5 seconds. And so could there be Conservatives in it? Yeah, totally. This is the problem again with large parties. The larger the party, the more nutcases who could be inside the party willing to work on behalf of a foreign government. Naturally, parties with no power don't have many people trying to influence them. And so the Conservatives could have some people who maybe cut a deal to win a nomination with the help of some foreign embassy selling memberships to people who knew from that community. That could have happened. Could have, yeah, definitely. The thing is, it's probably mostly just the Liberal government, the Liberal Party. I can list people right now. Han Dong is obviously implicated. Jagmeet Singh kind of even hinted at it, because after he came out and delivered this press conference, he also just made a quick comment that I don't think Han Dong should ever be let back in the Liberal Party caucus, and then pretended like that had nothing to do with what he had just read. It's probably because he's obviously somebody who has had back channels with the Chinese government that the Canadian government found out about, or CSIS found out about. Majid Jahari is an obvious person who has ties to the Iranian regime, the Islamic regime in Iran. He's literally, when Iranian parliamentarians come to Canada, they don't have an embassy here. They're not supposed to be doing diplomatic missions to Canada. But if they do happen to arrive on Canadian shores, oddly enough, they go and meet at Majid Jahari's house. And I don't think it's because he makes like a really mean cheese fondue or something like that, and they just have to try it. Probably he's their boy here. And there's a lot of other MPs in the Liberal Party I could name who obviously have some ties to the Pakistani government or to the Iranian government, or others, the Chinese government. But for now, we don't know. Trudeau knows. He doesn't want to say anything. In a certain sense, he probably should just tear off the Band-Aid right now. Maybe he thinks that there's enough of an exposure for the Conservatives that they won't call him out, because even if let's say there's 10 MPs who are compromised, 10 MPs and senators, maybe 9 out of 10 are Liberals and 1's a Conservative, but they know that if that comes out, there's any Conservatives implicated, the media are going to cover it like a 50-50 affair. Yes, 99% of all of the damage done is from the Liberal side, especially since they're literally the government, and there's just one random freak from the Conservatives. But the media will pretend like these are equivalent things. They do it all the time. Just look at the war between Israel and Hamas, where they pretend it's a 50-50 affair between 2 legitimate actors. But anyways, this really does put a fine point on just how bad Canada's gotten under Trudeau. The fact that, again, it's not just normal graft, giving money to your friends domestically, building bridges to nowhere in order to funnel money to specific companies, SNC Laval and stuff. That's already bad. If anything, that was a Canadian company doing foreign interference in Libya. But now we are doing it the opposite direction, where our parliamentarians are either apparently for sale or have such strong loyalties to other countries they're willing to just not care about the interests of Canadians in order to serve that foreign asset, which will hurt us in the long run. I guarantee there was also stuff talking about the Winnipeg lab leak in all of this, because I don't doubt that a lot of those people working in the Winnipeg lab, those two Chinese, basically Beijing assets, probably had help from somebody. And I hope that comes out at some point. And I hope this report just gets splashed out to the public, because that's kind of what we need at this point. It doesn't sound like we would, expose any foreign secrets by releasing this, but Trudeau's trying to keep it locked up in the committee and under 17 layers of security clearances you need to even whisper about what you've read. But anyways, that should be it for me today, guys. If you want to donate to my legal fund, you can. It's the Give Send Go link in the description below. I have a Chinese billionaire developer suing myself and the National Telegraph for $900,000, I believe is the figure. I've paid $29,000 personally into defending myself and TNT. So if you want to contribute anything, it really helps us out, pay for our legal costs. This case has been going on for more than 2.5 years now, and the man hasn't even filed a single piece of evidence to prove that we defamed him. He is merely stating it and throwing paperwork at us from here. But you can also join, so if you want to donate to that, helps us out a lot. And then you can also join the TNT Telegram channel, also linked in the description below, if you want to see all of the posts that we put up in order without having to rely on YouTube to let you know when we have a new video out. Anyways, that should be it for me today, guys. Have a great one.